Hello and welcome. In the quiet moments of the evening, do you ever feel that the world has become a bit too loud? Perhaps there is a lingering regret about the past, or a gentle worry that your voice is being heard less in your own family. It is a common experience as we move through life. The world around us changes rapidly, and we often feel we are losing our grip on the things we love. Marcus Aurelius, who led an empire through great difficulty, reminded himself that he had power over his mind, but not over outside events. He understood that recognizing this truth is where our real strength begins. To illustrate this, think of an old oak tree in a sudden storm. The tree does not try to stop the wind. It simply keeps its roots deep and steady. Today, we will explore the quiet anchor method, a simple way to keep your own roots deep. Please stay with us as we share these practical steps. If you are ready to find that stillness, type, I control my response. I control my response. The first step in building your inner citadel is to understand what the Stoics called the anchor of perspective. This is the fundamental rule of a peaceful life. It is the ability to clearly see the line between what is yours to hold and what belongs to the world. The Stoics believed that the universe is divided into two very distinct categories. On one side, there are things we control. These are our own thoughts, our own intentions, and our own actions. On the other side is everything else. This includes the weather, the economy, the opinions of our neighbors, the health of our bodies, and even the choices made by the people we love most. 2. A Stoic. True power does not come from trying to change the world. It comes from mastering the small territory that actually belongs to us. In our modern lives, this principle is incredibly difficult to follow. We are living in an era where we are told that we must have an opinion on everything. Technology allows us to see problems thousands of miles away, making us feel responsible for events we cannot influence. For many of us in our later years, this burden often settles closer to home. We feel a deep sense of responsibility for our adult children and our grandchildren. We worry about their careers, their relationships, and their values. When they struggle, we feel as though we have failed. We also face the natural changes in our own health. It is hard to accept that our bodies do not always obey our will. We often treat these external changes as personal betrayals, and this causes us a great deal of unnecessary suffering. Let us look at a fictional situation to see how this plays out in a normal day. Imagine a grandmother named Mary. Mary is a kind woman who has spent her whole life caring for others. She has a grandson who has recently moved to a new city for work. Mary hears through family members that he is not doing well. He is staying out late, wasting his savings, and not calling home as often as he used to. 2. Mary spends her nights lying awake at 2 in the morning. Her heart races and her mind replays every conversation she has ever had with him. She wonders what she did wrong. She feels that if she could just say the right words, she could fix his life. Mary believes her worry is a sign of her love. But in reality, her worry is a sign that she has tied her peace of mind to a kite that someone else is flying. Her happiness is now on loan to her grandson's behavior. Because he is choosing a difficult path, Mary is suffering as if she were the one making those mistakes. When we analyze this situation through a Stoic lens, we see that Mary is trying to control the uncontrollable. She is attempting to reach across the line and manage her grandson's internal will. Epictetus, A man who was born into slavery and lived with very few physical choices. Spent his life teaching people how to avoid this exact trap. He understood that a slave who controls his own mind is more free than a king who is a slave to his anxieties. Epictetus wrote, "Happiness and freedom begin with a clear understanding of one principle. Some things are within our control, and some things are not." This is not a cold or unfeeling statement. It is a statement of liberation. Epictetus was telling us that we do not have to carry the weight of the entire world. We only have to carry the weight of our own character. By understanding this, Mary can begin to find her anchor again. She can realize that her grandson's choices are his own journey. She can still love him, and she can still offer him a place of warmth if he asks for it. But she no longer has to let his choices destroy her sleep. She can reclaim her peace by focusing on her own actions. She can choose to be a steady, calm presence rather than a voice of frantic worry. This shift in perspective changes everything. It moves us from being a victim of circumstance to being the author of our own internal state. You can apply this principle when you are facing moments of overthinking or when you feel betrayed by someone you trusted. If a friend or a family member says something hurtful, ask yourself if their words are within your control. They are not. Their words are a reflection of their own mind, not yours. If you are dealing with a health concern, remember that while you can control your diet and follow your doctor's advice, the outcome of your body's aging is a natural process that belongs to the universe. When you stop fighting the things you cannot change, you find a sudden and beautiful surge of energy that you can use to improve the things you can change. To begin practicing this today, I invite you to try a simple exercise called the 2-column audit. You will only need 5 minutes and a piece of paper. You should do this in the morning. Perhaps while you have your first cup of coffee or tea, take your paper and draw a line down the middle to create 2 columns. In the left column, write down the top 3 things that are currently causing you stress. It might be a family conflict, a financial worry, or a physical pain. Now, look at each item very closely. In the right column, write down only the parts of that problem that you have the direct power to influence right now. If you are worried about a family argument, you cannot control what the other person thinks of you. You can only control your next kind word or your decision to stay silent. Circle those specific actions in the right column. For everything else that remains on the left side, tell yourself, this is not up to me. Leave those things to the universe for today. This practice is a way of training your mind to be precise. It prevents you from wasting your precious spirit on shadows. The more you do this, the more you will realize that most of the things that steal your joy actually live in the left column. They are outside of your reach. By consciously letting them go, you are not being passive. You are being wise. You are choosing to spend your strength where it can actually grow something good. This is how you build dignity. This is how you remain steady when the world around you feels like it is shaking. Before we move to the next section, take a moment to reflect on your own life. Where have you been trying to control the wind? Where can you instead choose to deepen your roots? Remember that your peace is a fortress that you build brick by brick. Every time you choose to focus on your own character, please take a deep breath and let the unnecessary burdens fall away for a moment. You are doing the good work of becoming your own anchor. I focus on what I can change. I focus on what I can change. Type in the comments, I focus on what I can change. The second anchor we must set deep into the earth of our lives is the anchor of the present. In the wisdom of the Stoic tradition, there is a beautiful and challenging concept known as amor fati. Translated from the Latin, this means a love of one's fate. It is not merely a passive acceptance of what has happened to us. It is a deep, soulful embrace of our entire journey. This includes the triumphs we are proud of, the mistakes that make us blush, and the quiet moments that make up the fabric of our days. To practice amor fati is to stop wishing that your life were different and to start seeing the profound value in the life you actually have. It is about moving from the question of why this happened to the realization that it has happened, and that you can still choose to live with dignity right now. In our later years, this principle becomes perhaps the most important tool in our mental sanctuary. However, it is also one of the most difficult to practice in our modern world. We live in a culture that is obsessed with the idea of the perfect life. We are constantly shown images of what we could have been or what we should have achieved. For those of us who have lived through many decades, our pasts are very long. There is a lot of room for the mind to wander. We have thousands of memories. And unfortunately, the human brain has a natural tendency to focus on the ones that bring us pain. We find ourselves trapped in the what-if cycle. What if I had taken that other job? What if I had married that other person? What if I had saved more money or been a better parent? This overthinking is a silent thief. It steals the joy from your current cup of tea. It makes you absent from the people who are sitting right in front of you. When we live in the past, we are living with ghosts. And ghosts can never offer us the warmth of a real connection in the present. Let us consider a fictional illustration to see how this weight of regret can settle into a home. Imagine a man named Robert. Robert is recently retired after 40 years of hard work. He has a comfortable home and a wife who deeply cares for him. But lately, Robert has been spending his afternoons sitting in his favorite chair, staring out the window, and feeling a deep sense of bitterness. His mind is fixed on a decision he made 30 years ago. Back then, he had the chance to move his family across the country for a high-level position. He turned it down because he was afraid of the risk. Now, in the quiet of his retirement, he views that choice as the greatest failure of his life. He looks at his current modest lifestyle and compares it to a dream version of himself that never existed. Because he is so focused on the ghost of the man he could have been, he has become irritable and distant. When his wife tries to share a story about their grandchildren, Robert gives short, distracted answers. He is physically in the room, but his spirit is back in a boardroom in the 1990s. Robert is sailing his ship by staring at the wake behind him, and as a result, he is about to crash into the joys of his actual present life through a Stoic lens. We can see that Robert is committing a logical error. He is treating the past as if it were still a living thing he could change. But the Stoics understood that time is like a river. Once the water has passed you, it is gone. You cannot swim upstream, and you cannot reach back to pull the water back toward you. Marcus Aurelius, who sat at the pinnacle of power and faced immense personal loss, used his private journals to remind himself of this truth every single day. He knew that even an emperor could be made miserable by his own memories. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Confine yourself to the present. Do not let the future trouble you, and do not let the past weigh you down." This was a command to himself to stop the mental time travel that leads to despair He recognized that the only place where virtue can exist, the only place where you can actually be a good person, is in this very second. You cannot be kind in a memory. You can only be kind to the person standing before you right now. When you find yourself overthinking a past mistake or feeling a sense of regret about a lost opportunity, you can apply this principle by remembering the image of the ship's wake. The white foam behind a boat shows where the boat has been. But that foam has no power to move the boat forward. It is just a record of the path taken. Your regrets are the same. They are a record of your path, but they carry no fuel for your future. You can apply this wisdom when you are dealing with a difficult relationship or when you feel that you have lost your status in the world. Instead of mourning the person you used to be, look at the person you are today. There is a quiet dignity in being a person who has endured and who is still willing to learn. Your life is not a set of missed chances. It is a completed story that is still being written. Every breath you take is a new chance to be the author of your response. To bring this ancient wisdom into your daily routine, I invite you to practice an exercise called the gratitude breath. This is a very simple tool that only takes 60 seconds, but it acts as a powerful anchor to pull you back from the clouds of the past. You can do this at any time, but it is especially helpful when you feel a wave of regret or what-if thinking starting to pull you down. Step number 1. When a regretful thought enters your mind, stop whatever you are doing. If you are sitting, stay seated. If you are standing, feel your feet on the floor. Step number 2. Take a deep, slow breath through your nose. As you breathe in, name one physical thing in your immediate reach that is a blessing. It does not have to be something big. It could be the warmth of the sun on your hand. It could be the smell of the coffee in your mug. It could be the sound of a bird outside your window or the comfort of a soft blanket. Step number 3. As you exhale slowly, say to yourself, that was then, and this is now. Step number 4. Repeat this for 3 breaths, naming a different small blessing each time. The goal of this practice is to flood your senses with the reality of the present moment. By focusing on a physical sensation, you break the mental loop of the past. You are reminding your brain that the then no longer exists, but the now is filled with small, beautiful truths that deserve your attention. Over time, this 60-second practice will retrain your mind to stay centered. You will begin to see that your current life, with all its imperfections, is actually enough. It is the only life you have, and it is a gift that is meant to be lived, not regretted. As we finish this section, please remember that your journey has brought you to this moment for a reason. All the twists and turns, even the ones you wish you could undo, have shaped the person you are today. You are still here. You are still breathing. You are still capable of growth and peace. Do not let the ghosts of yesterday steal the sunlight of today. You are the master of this moment, and this moment is exactly where you are meant to be. Take comfort in the fact that you no longer have to carry the heavy luggage of the past. You can set it down and walk forward with a lighter heart. I am at peace with my journey. I am at peace with my journey. Type in the comments, I am at peace with my journey. The third and final anchor we must secure in our lives is the anchor of character. This is the bedrock of our personal dignity. In the heart of Stoic philosophy, there is a powerful concept known as the gap between stimulus and response. The ancient Greeks had a specific word for the faculty of the mind that allows us to make this choice They called it prohairesis. It is the idea that while we cannot control what people say to us or how they treat us, we have absolute and final authority over how we choose to respond. This gap is the only place where true human freedom exists. It is the tiny sliver of time between a hurtful comment being heard and a reply being spoken. In that silence, we decide who we are. We decide if we will be a mirror that reflects the anger of others, or a light that remains steady regardless of the darkness around us. For many of us today, this anchor feels harder than ever to hold on to. We live in a world that moves very fast. Modern communication encourages us to react instantly. If we receive a frustrating email or a sharp comment on social media, we feel pressured to strike back immediately. But even more difficult are the long-term conflicts within our own families. As we age, our roles in the family often change. We may feel that our children or younger relatives no longer show us the respect we feel we have earned. We might feel overlooked or misunderstood. When a loved one says something that cuts deep, our instinct is to defend ourselves. We feel that our dignity is being attacked, and we believe that fighting back is the only way to protect it. However, the Stoics tell us that reacting with the same bitterness as our accuser is the quickest way to lose our dignity. When we allow someone else's anger to dictate our behavior, we have given them the keys to our inner citadel. We have allowed their character to become our own. To see how this looks in a real, modern life, let us consider a fictional story that many caregivers may recognize. Imagine an older man named Thomas. Thomas has been married to his wife, Sarah, for nearly 50 years. Recently, Sarah has become very ill and requires constant care. Thomas spends his days preparing her meals, managing her medications, and helping her move from room to room. He does this with deep love. But Sarah is in a great deal of physical pain. Because of her suffering, she has become sharp and critical. One afternoon, as Thomas is bringing her tea, Sarah lashes out. She tells him that he is too slow, that the tea is cold, and that he has never truly understood how to take care of her. In that moment, Thomas feels a surge of genuine hurt. He has sacrificed his own hobbies and his own rest to be by her side. A part of him wants to drop the tray and tell her how ungrateful she is being. He wants to remind her of everything he has done for her. This is the stimulus. His heart is racing, and his face feels warm with the sting of being unappreciated. If Thomas reacts from this place of hurt, he will likely say something he regrets. He will add more pain to a room that is already filled with it. He will leave the situation feeling smaller and less like the man he wants to be. However, if Thomas uses the anchor of character, he recognizes the gap. He sees that Sarah's words are a symptom of her pain, not a true reflection of his worth. He understands that her anger belongs to her, but his response belongs to him. He chooses to take a long, slow breath. He decides to respond with a gentle word, or perhaps with a quiet silence that holds no judgment. By doing this, Thomas protects his own soul. He remains the loving husband he has always been. Even when it is difficult, he realizes that his dignity is not something Sarah can take away with her words. His dignity is something he keeps by how he chooses to behave in the face of her struggle. This is the very essence of what the great Stoic teachers practiced. Marcus Aurelius was a man who lived under constant pressure. He was the emperor of Rome. Surrounded by people who often wanted his power or disagreed with his decisions, he was betrayed by his most trusted generals and mocked by those he sought to help. In his private writings, he constantly reminded himself that his primary duty was to maintain his own character, no matter what others did. Marcus Aurelius taught that the best revenge is to be unlike him who performed the injury. Think about the profound wisdom in those few words. Most people think of revenge as getting even, which usually means becoming just as cruel as the person who hurt you. But the Stoic knows that if you become cruel in response to cruelty, the other person has won. They have forced you to abandon your virtues. The real victory is to remain kind when others are unkind. The real strength is to remain patient when others are impatient. When you refuse to be changed by the negativity of others, you have achieved a level of freedom that no one can touch. You have proven that your peace of mind is not a gift from the world, but a choice you make for yourself. You can apply this principle in many different areas of your life. For instance, apply this when you feel betrayed by a long-term friend or a business partner. The betrayal is their burden to carry. It reveals their character, not yours. Your job is to decide how you will walk forward. Do you walk forward with a heart full of poison? Or do you walk forward with your head held high, knowing you remained true to your values? You can also apply this when you find yourself overthinking a past argument. Instead of replaying what they said, focus on what you said. If you acted with character, you can be at peace. If you fell short, you can resolve to be better the next time. This shift in focus takes the power away from the other person and places it back into your own hands. It reminds you that you are the only one who can truly harm your own character. To help you build this anchor, I invite you to practice a very specific exercise called the 1-0 second buffer. This is a practice of creating space. It is a way to train your mind to find that quiet clearing where your freedom lives. You can do this at any time you feel a surge of irritation. Whether you are in a line at the grocery store or in a difficult conversation with a family member. Step number 1. The moment you feel a sting from someone's words or actions, do not speak. This is the most important part. Commit to total silence for 10 seconds. Step number 2. As you count slowly to 10 in your mind, observe the physical feeling of the irritation. Does your chest feel tight? Is your jaw clenched? Just notice it without trying to fight it. Step number 3. While you are counting, ask yourself one question. Will the words I am about to say reflect the person I want to be remembered as? Step number 4. If the answer is no, stay in silence until you can find a response that aligns with your dignity. If you cannot find a kind or constructive response, it is perfectly acceptable to say nothing at all and walk away. This 1-0 second practice may feel very long when you are in the heat of the moment, but it is the most valuable 10 seconds you will ever spend. It is the difference between building a bridge and burning one. It is the difference between being a victim of your emotions and being a master of your soul. Over time, you will find that the gap becomes more natural. You will start to feel a sense of quiet pride every time you choose character over reactivity. You will realize that you are no longer a person who can be easily shaken by the moods of others. Whatever your faith or your background, you can recognize that this spirit of patience is a universal virtue. It is a path to a life of honor and lasting peace. Your character is the only thing that is truly yours until the very end. Your wealth, your health, and your reputation can all be taken by circumstances outside of your control. But your ability to choose who you are in this moment and the next is yours forever. Hold on to this anchor tightly. Let it keep you steady when the waves of conflict try to pull you off course. You are the architect of your own responses. And every time you choose character, you are building a legacy of strength that will inspire everyone around you. My character is my choice. My character is my choice. Type in the comments, my character is my choice. To finalize our journey through the quiet anchor method, we must look at the way we begin and end our days. The ancient Stoics understood that the mind is like a vessel. If you do not steer it with intention, the current of the world will carry it wherever the wind blows. They believed in a concept of daily rhythm, a morning preparation and an evening review. This is the principle of self-examination. It is the belief that a life of dignity is not something that happens by accident. It is something that is maintained through consistent, gentle attention. By setting our intentions in the morning, we prepare our souls for the storms of the day. By reviewing our actions in the evening, we ensure that we learn from our mistakes and go to sleep with a clear conscience. This rhythm creates a sense of continuity and peace, regardless of how much chaos may be happening in the outside world. In our modern life, however, this rhythm has been almost destroyed. Most of us wake up and immediately reach for our phones or turn on the television. We flood our minds with news about things we cannot control, and with the demands of people who do not have our best interests at heart. We start our day in a state of high stress, with our hearts racing before we have even sipped water. Then, at the end of the day, we often fall into bed exhausted. Yet, our minds remain active. We replay the day's frustrations or worry about tomorrow's chores. We never take the time to close the door on the day. As a result, we carry the stress of Tuesday into Wednesday, and the regrets of last year into the present moment. For many of us in our later years, this lack of rhythm can lead to a feeling of being overwhelmed, or a sense that time is simply slipping through our fingers without meaning. Let us look at a fictional illustration to see the difference a simple routine can make. Imagine a woman named Helen. Helen lives alone and often feels a sense of quiet anxiety when she first wakes up. Her habit is to turn on the morning news while she makes her breakfast. She hears about rising prices, political arguments, and health scares. By the time she finishes her toast, her hands are shaking slightly, and she feels a heavy weight in her chest. She spends her day reacting to these fears. Now, imagine a man named George. George is in the same stage of life as Helen, but he has adopted a Stoic rhythm. When George wakes up, he keeps the house quiet. He sits by the window for 10 minutes. He tells himself that he will likely meet difficult people today, but he reminds himself that he has the strength to remain kind. In the evening, before George goes to sleep, he sits in that same chair. He thinks about the day. He remembers a moment when he was slightly rude to a store clerk, and he quietly resolves to be more patient tomorrow. He also acknowledges the moment he helped a neighbor. Because George has a routine, he feels like the captain of his soul. Helen feels like a passenger on a sinking ship. The world around them is the same, but their internal experience is entirely different. When we analyze these two approaches, we see that George is practicing what Seneca, a wise Stoic advisor, did it every single night. Seneca was a very busy man who worked in the highest levels of government. Yet he never skipped his evening review. He knew that the only way to find lasting peace was to be honest with oneself. Seneca advised that we should act as our own judge, but a judge that is fair and compassionate. He wrote, "When the light has been removed, and my wife has fallen silent, I examine my entire day and go over what I have done and said, hiding nothing from myself, passing over nothing." This was not a practice of self-punishment. It was a practice of clearing the slate. By looking at his actions clearly, Seneca could let go of the day's burdens. He didn't have to carry his mistakes into his dreams. He could say to himself, "I have done what I could," and find true rest. You can apply this principle whenever you feel like your days are blurring together or when you feel that you are losing your sense of purpose. It is especially helpful when you are caring for a loved one or dealing with the loneliness that sometimes comes with age. Instead of letting the day happen to you, you decide how you will show up. You can apply this when you are overthinking a family conflict. By reviewing the conflict in your evening audit, you can decide if you acted with character. If you did, you can let the worry go. If you didn't, you can plan your apology for the morning. This simple act of checking in with yourself restores your dignity and gives you a sense of control over your own life story. To help you build this into your own life, I have prepared a 7-day quiet anchor plan. This plan is designed to be gentle and effective. It does not require any special tools. Only a few minutes of your time each day, day number 1 and day number 2. Focus on the circle of control. Every morning, identify one thing you are worried about and consciously decide to let go of it. Parts you cannot change. Day number 3 and day number 4. Practice the gap. Whenever you feel an emotion rising, count to 10 before you speak or act. Notice how much power you gain in that small silence. Day number 5 and day number 6. The evening review. Before you sleep, find 3 things you did well and 1 thing you would like to do better tomorrow. Day number 7. The day of stillness. Try to avoid the news and loud distractions. Spend the day in quiet reflection, perhaps walking in nature or reading a book that nourishes your spirit. Along with this 7-day plan, I invite you to adopt a simple morning and evening routine. In the morning, before you do anything else, stand by a window and take 3 deep breaths. Say to yourself, "I cannot control what this day brings, but I can control how I meet it. I choose to be steady. I choose to be kind." In the evening, as you are preparing for bed, take 5 minutes to sit in silence. Think through your day from the moment you woke up until now. Do not judge yourself harshly. Simply observe your actions. If you find a moment when you were strong, be thankful for it. If you find a moment where you were weak, forgive yourself and decide how to handle it differently next time. As you lay your head on the pillow, say to yourself, "The day is done. I have played my part. I am at peace." This practice is a way of honoring your life. It is a way of saying that your thoughts and your character matter, whatever your faith, or whatever path you walk. There is a deep comfort in knowing that you are living with intention. You are not just getting through the day, you are crafting a life of meaning. You are becoming the anchor in your own storm. This path is not always easy, but it is always available to you, no matter how many years have passed, or how many mistakes you feel you have made. You can always start a new rhythm tomorrow morning. You have the strength of the ancient Stoics within you. You have the dignity of a person who has endured much and is still seeking the light. As we conclude this session, take a moment to feel the stillness in your own heart. You have the tools now to build your inner citadel. You have the anchors to keep you steady. You are part of a community of people who are all striving for this same peace. You are not alone. Please remember to be patient with yourself as you practice these steps. Philosophy is not a destination, it is a way of walking. I am the anchor in my own storm. I am the anchor in my own storm. Type in the comments, I am the anchor in my own storm, to finalize our journey through the quiet anchor method. We must look at the way we begin and end our days. The ancient Stoics understood that the mind is like a vessel. If you do not steer it with intention, the current of the world will carry it wherever the wind blows. They believed in a concept of daily rhythm, a morning preparation and an evening review. This is the principle of self-examination. It is the belief that a life of dignity is not something that happens by accident. It is something that is maintained through consistent, gentle attention. By setting our intentions in the morning, we prepare our souls for the storms of the day. By reviewing our actions in the evening, we ensure that we learn from our mistakes and go to sleep with a clear conscience. This rhythm creates a sense of continuity and peace, regardless of how much chaos may be happening in the outside world. In our modern life, however, this rhythm has been almost destroyed. Most of us wake up and immediately reach for our phones or turn on the television. We flood our minds with news about things we cannot control and with the demands of people who do not have our best interests at heart. We start our day in a state of high stress, with our hearts racing before we have even sipped water. Then, at the end of the day, we often fall into bed, exhausted. Yet, our minds remain active. We replay the day's frustrations or worry about tomorrow's chores. We never take the time to close the door on the day. As a result, we carry the stress of Tuesday into Wednesday, and the regrets of last year into the present moment. For many of us in our later years, this lack of rhythm can lead to a feeling of being overwhelmed or a sense that time is simply slipping through our fingers without meaning. Let us look at a fictional illustration to see the difference a simple routine can make. Imagine a woman named Helen. Helen lives alone and often feels a sense of quiet anxiety when she first wakes up. Her habit is to turn on the morning news while she makes her breakfast. She hears about rising prices, political arguments, and health scares. By the time she finishes her toast, her hands are shaking slightly, and she feels a heavy weight in her chest. She spends her day reacting to these fears. Now, imagine a man named George. George is in the same stage of life as Helen, but he has adopted a Stoic rhythm. When George wakes up, he keeps the house quiet. He sits by the window for 10 minutes. He tells himself that he will likely meet difficult people today, but he reminds himself that he has the strength to remain kind. In the evening, before George goes to sleep, he sits in that same chair. He thinks about the day. He remembers a moment when he was slightly rude to a store clerk, and he quietly resolves to be more patient tomorrow. He also acknowledges the moment he helped a neighbor. Because George has a routine, he feels like the captain of his soul. Helen feels like a passenger on a sinking ship. The world around them is the same, but their internal experience is entirely different. When we analyze these two approaches, we see that George is practicing what Seneca, a wise Stoic advisor, did it every single night. Seneca was a very busy man who worked in the highest levels of government. Yet he never skipped his evening review. He knew that the only way to find lasting peace was to be honest with oneself. Seneca advised that we should act as our own judge, but a judge that is fair and compassionate. He wrote, "When the light has been removed, and my wife has fallen silent, I examine my entire day and go over what I have done and said, hiding nothing from myself, passing over nothing." This was not a practice of self-punishment. It was a practice of clearing the slate. By looking at his actions clearly, Seneca could let go of the day's burdens. He didn't have to carry his mistakes into his dreams. He could say to himself, "I have done what I could," and find true rest. You can apply this principle whenever you feel like your days are blurring together, or when you feel that you are losing your sense of purpose. It is especially helpful when you are caring for a loved one or dealing with the loneliness that sometimes comes with age. Instead of letting the day happen to you, you decide how you will show up. You can apply this when you are overthinking a family conflict. By reviewing the conflict in your evening audit, you can decide if you acted with character. If you did, you can let the worry go. If you didn't, you can plan your apology for the morning. This simple act of checking in with yourself restores your dignity and gives you a sense of control over your own life story. To help you build this into your own life, I have prepared a 7-day quiet anchor plan. This plan is designed to be gentle and effective. It does not require any special tools. Only a few minutes of your time each day, day number 1 and day number 2. Focus on the circle of control. Every morning, identify one thing you are worried about and consciously decide to let go of it. Parts you cannot change. Day number 3 and day number 4. Practice the gap. Whenever you feel an emotion rising, count to 10 before you speak or act. Notice how much power you gain in that small silence. Day number 5 and day number 6. The evening review. Before you sleep, find 3 things you did well and 1 thing you would like to do better tomorrow. Day number 7. The day of stillness. Try to avoid the news and loud distractions. Spend the day in quiet reflection, perhaps walking in nature or reading a book that nourishes your spirit. Along with this 7-day plan, I invite you to adopt a simple morning and evening routine. In the morning, before you do anything else, stand by a window and take 3 deep breaths. Say to yourself, "I cannot control what this day brings, but I can control how I meet it. I choose to be steady. I choose to be kind." In the evening, as you are preparing for bed, take 5 minutes to sit in silence. Think through your day from the moment you woke up until now. Do not judge yourself harshly. Simply observe your actions. If you find a moment when you were strong, be thankful for it. If you find a moment where you were weak, forgive yourself and decide how to handle it differently next time. As you lay your head on the pillow, say to yourself, "The day is done. I have played my part. I am at peace." This practice is a way of honoring your life. It is a way of saying that your thoughts and your character matter, whatever your faith, or whatever path you walk. There is a deep comfort in knowing that you are living with intention. You are not just getting through the day, you are crafting a life of meaning. You are becoming the anchor in your own storm. This path is not always easy, but it is always available to you, no matter how many years have passed, or how many mistakes you feel you have made. You can always start a new rhythm tomorrow morning. You have the strength of the ancient Stoics within you. You have the dignity of a person who has endured much and is still seeking the light. As we conclude this session, take a moment to feel the stillness in your own heart. You have the tools now to build your inner citadel. You have the anchors to keep you steady. You are part of a community of people who are all striving for this same peace. You are not alone. Please remember to be patient with yourself as you practice these steps. Philosophy is not a destination, it is a way of walking. I am the anchor in my own storm. I am the anchor in my own storm. Type in the comments, I am the anchor in my own storm. The fourth anchor we will discuss today is the anchor of connection. Specifically, how to apply Stoic wisdom when you are facing the deep pain of loneliness or the sharp sting of betrayal. This segment is designed to address the moments when the people in our lives or the absence of them threaten our peace. The core principle here is the Stoic concept of being a citizen of the world, combined with the belief that our worth is never determined by how others treat us. The Stoics believe that we are part of a vast, interconnected human family. Even when we are physically alone, we are connected to the history of those who came before us and the nature that surrounds us. They also taught that while we should be kind to everyone, we must never allow our internal happiness to be held hostage by the loyalty or the company of another person. In our modern lives, applying this is incredibly difficult because we have been taught that being alone is a sign of failure. For those of us in our mature years, loneliness can feel like a heavy, cold foe. Perhaps the house is silent because the children have moved far away. Perhaps a spouse has passed on, or friends have drifted into their own separate lives. We live in a society that values constant social activity, and when that activity fades, we feel as though we have lost our place in the world. Similarly, betrayal feels like a personal attack on our very identity. When a friend of 40 years stops calling, or when a family member does something selfish that hurts us, we feel a deep sense of injustice. We think that if we were good enough, they would not have treated us this way. We spend our nights overthinking their motives, trying to understand how someone we loved could be so unkind. This modern focus on external validation makes our peace of mind very fragile. We become like a house built on sand, easily washed away by the changing tides of human relationships. Let us look at a fictional illustration of loneliness to see how this principle can bring comfort. Imagine a woman named Evelyn. Evelyn is 70 years old and lives in a quiet suburb. Her children live in different states and are busy with their own careers and families. They call once a week, but the calls are often short. Most days, Evelyn's only interaction is with the cashier at the grocery store. She feels a deep sense of being unseen. She looks at old photographs and misses the days when her home was filled with noise and needs. She begins to tell herself a story that she is no longer needed, that her life is empty. This story causes her more pain than the actual silence of the house. Evelyn is suffering because she is viewing her solitude as a cage rather than a sanctuary. Now, let us consider a situation of betrayal. Imagine a man named David. David spent his life building a small business with a close partner. A few years before they were set to retire, the partner made a secret deal that left David with far less than he earned. David feels humiliated. Every time he sees his former partner's name or hears about their success, his blood pressure rises. He feels that the betrayal has redefined his entire life. He thinks of himself as the man who was cheated. David's peace is gone because he has allowed the poverty of character of another person to become a poison in his own heart. He is waiting for an apology that will likely never come. And in doing so, he is letting the person who hurt him continue to hurt him every single day. When we analyze Evelyn's loneliness through Stoic wisdom, we see that she is forgetting her connection to the larger world. Seneca, a wise Stoic who spent much of his life in exile and away from his loved ones, wrote extensively about the difference between being alone and being lonely. He believed that the greatest friend we can ever have is ourselves. Seneca wrote, "Wherever I am with my own soul." He encouraged people to find good company in their own thoughts, their own books, and their own character. For Evelyn, the Stoic path is to realize that her house is not empty, it is filled with her own life, her own memories, and her own wisdom. She is a citizen of the world, and her connection to humanity does not depend on her children being in the same room. By changing the story she tells herself, she can transform her silence into a quiet dignity. For David, the Stoic solution to betrayal is to recognize that the partner's actions are outside of his control. When someone betrays us, they are revealing a flaw in their own nature. Naturs, Marcus Aurelius, who dealt with betrayal from his most trusted advisors, wrote a famous reminder to himself in his journal. He wrote, "When you wake up in the morning, tell yourself, the people I deal with today will be meddling, ungrateful, arrogant, dishonest, jealous, and surly. They are like this because they cannot tell good from evil." Marcus Aurelius did not say this to be cynical. He said it to protect his peace. He understood that if you expect everyone to be perfect, you will be disappointed every hour. But if you realize that people are often driven by their own fears and ignorance, their betrayal loses its power to shock you. David can realize that his partner's dishonesty is a burden the partner has to carry. David is still a man of integrity, and that is a wealth no one can steal. The best response to betrayal is to continue being a person of character. You can apply this wisdom when you feel lonely by practicing what the Stoics called the world connection walk. This is a simple exercise that takes about 15 minutes and is very effective for breaking the feeling of isolation. Step number 1. Go for a short walk outside, or even just sit by an open window. Step number 2. Instead of focusing on your own thoughts, look closely at the life around you. Notice the trees, the birds, the clouds, and even the strangers passing by. Step number 3. Remind yourself that you are a part of this living, breathing system. You are made of the same elements as the stars and the earth. Step number 4. Say to yourself, I am a citizen of the world. I am never truly alone because I am part of the whole. This exercise helps to shift your perspective from the small I to the vast we. It reminds you that even in your quiet moments, you are contributing to the peace of the world by maintaining your own inner stillness. You can apply the principle of the mental release ritual when you feel the sting of betrayal or a family conflict. This takes about 10 minutes and should be done in a quiet place. Step number 1. Visualize the person who hurt you. Step number 2. Imagine that they are carrying a heavy, dark backpack. Inside, That backpack is their fears, their greed, and their inability to be honest. Step number 3. Realize that their betrayal was simply them acting out of what was inside their own backpack. It had nothing to do with your value. Step number 4. In your mind, say to them, that is your burden to carry, not mine. Step number 5. Imagine yourself cutting a cord that connects you to their actions. You are now free to walk away with your own character intact. This ritual is a powerful way to stop overthinking and to reclaim the energy you have been wasting on resentment. It reminds you that your peace is your power, and it is too valuable to give away to someone who has proven they do not deserve it. By applying these anchors, you move from a state of being a victim of your social circumstances to being a person of profound inner strength. Whether you are in a crowded room or a silent house, your value remains constant. Whether you are loved by all or betrayed by some, your character remains your own. This is the ultimate promise of Stoicism, a peace that does not depend on the world behaving exactly as you wish. It is a peace that comes from knowing who you are and remaining steady in that knowledge. Loneliness is an opportunity for self-discovery. Betrayal is an opportunity for the practice of forgiveness and the strengthening of your own integrity. Both are difficult, but both can be used to build your inner citadel. You are part of a long line of people who have faced these same challenges and found a way to remain standing. You have the same strength within you right now. Take a breath and feel the connection to the earth beneath your feet. You are grounded. You are steady. You are the anchor in your own storm, whatever your faith. You can find common ground in this practice of being a person of light in a sometimes dark world. To be kind when others are cold, and to stay connected to your own soul when the world feels far away, is a truly noble way to live. This is the path of dignity. This is the path of lasting peace. My peace is my power. My peace is my power. Type in the comments, my peace is my power, to truly anchor your soul. You must understand that philosophy is not a one-time thought, but a lifelong habit. The Stoics believed in the principle of daily training, or what they called ascesis. They understood that a mind without a structure is like a garden without a fence. Eventually, the weeds of worry and the wild animals of anger will take over. The 7-day quiet anchor plan is designed to be that fence. It is a commitment to yourself to move beyond just listening to wisdom and into the actual practice of living it. It is the understanding that you do not become steady by reading about it, but by standing firm when the small winds of the week try to push you. This is the art of progress over perfection, a steady building of your inner citadel, brick by brick. In our modern life, this consistency is incredibly difficult to maintain because we live in a culture of distraction by design. Every device in our home is competing for our attention. Even in our retirement or later years, we often find that our time is stolen by 1,000 small tasks or the constant noise of the television. For many of us, the loss of a traditional work schedule means that our days can begin to feel identical. One Tuesday blends into a Thursday, and without a sense of purpose, our minds can become soft and reactive. We lose the mental muscle required to stay calm. We find ourselves getting frustrated by small things, like a long line at the pharmacy or a confusing bill, because we have stopped training our minds to see these as opportunities for strength. Without a plan, we are not living our lives. We are simply reacting to whatever happens next. Let us look at a fictional illustration of how this lack of structure can affect a home. Imagine a woman named Elena. Elena is 65 and has been looking forward to a quiet life. However, she finds that her days are filled with a strange, low-level anxiety. She spends her mornings checking her phone for messages from her children, and her afternoons are often lost to the news. When her husband asks her a simple question about dinner, she snaps at him because she is already mentally exhausted by things she cannot change. Elena feels like she is drifting. She has all the wisdom she has gathered over her lifetime, but she is not using it. She is like a person who owns a beautiful set of tools, but lets them rust in the garage while the house falls into disrepair. Elena doesn't need more information. She needs a rhythm to bring her back to herself. When we analyze Elena's situation through a Stoic lens, we see that she is missing the vital link between theory and action. Epictetus, the great teacher of Stoic practice, was very clear about this. He knew that his students could talk for hours about philosophy but still fail the moment they faced a real problem. He wanted them to be athletes of the mind. Epictetus taught that every habit and faculty is confirmed and strengthened by the corresponding action. This is a profound truth. If you want to be a calm person, you must perform calm actions. If you want to be a resilient person, you must practice resilience in small, manageable doses. You cannot wait for a great tragedy to test your character. You must build your character during the quiet weeks so that you are ready for whatever comes. You can apply this 7-day plan whenever you feel that drifting sensation or when you feel that your emotions have become too loud. It is especially useful when you are dealing with family friction or the stress of health changes. Instead of trying to fix everything at once, you focus on one anchor at a time. By the end of the week, you are no longer the same person who started on Monday. You have created a muscle memory for peace. This plan is not a burden. It is a gift of dignity that you give to yourself. It is a way of saying that your time is valuable and your character is worth the effort. To begin your journey, follow this step-by-step 7-day quiet anchor plan. You may want to listen to this section several times or write these steps down in a journal. Step number 1. Day 1 and Day 2. Your focus is the circle of control. During these 2 days, your goal is to identify your mental leaks. Every time you feel a surge of worry, ask yourself, is this in my control? If the answer is no, you must consciously choose to stop the thought. Spend 10 minutes each morning writing down your worries and circling only the ones you can act on. For these 48 hours, you are the guardian of your energy. You are learning to stop fighting the wind. Step number 2. Day 3 and Day 4. Your focus is the practice of the gap. These are the days of the count to 10. Before you respond to any email, any phone call, or any comment from a family member, you must pause for 10 seconds. Use this time to ask, who do I choose to be right now? You are training your brain to move from instinct to reason. You are realizing that you are not a puppet to your feelings. You are the author of your response. Step number 3. Day 5 and Day 6. Your focus is the evening reflection. For these 2 nights, before you turn out the light, spend 15 minutes in total silence. Review your day as if you were a kind but firm mentor. Ask, what did I do well? Where did I lose my anchor? What can I improve tomorrow? Do not judge yourself with cruelty. Instead, look for the lessons. You are clearing the slate of your soul so that you can sleep with a clear conscience. You are ensuring that yesterday's mistakes do not become today's burdens. Step number 4. Day 7. This is your day of stillness. This is the most important day of the plan. For 24 hours, you will create a sanctuary of silence. Turn off the news. Put away the social media. Do not engage in gossip or unnecessary complaints. Spend your time in quiet contemplation. Read a book that inspires you. Walk in a park, or sit in prayer or meditation. This is the day you let the silt settle in the water so that the pool of your mind becomes clear again. You are reconnecting with the citadel within you. This 7-day plan is a way to reclaim your life from the chaos of the world. It provides a roadmap for your spirit. By the time you reach the 7th day, you will notice a shift. The things that used to bother you will seem smaller. The peace you have been seeking will feel closer, not as something you have to find, but as something you have built. This is the power of a Stoic rhythm. It gives you a sense of mastery over your internal world. Regardless of what the external world is doing, you can start this plan today. You do not need to wait for a new month or a perfect time. The perfect time is always right now. Whether you are in a season of joy or a season of suffering, these anchors will serve you. They are the tools of a dignified life. They are the heritage of the great thinkers who understood that the only true freedom is the freedom we create inside ourselves. As you walk through these 7 days, remember to be gentle with yourself. If you forget to pause on day 3, do not give up. Simply acknowledge it and start again on the next breath. Stoicism is not about being perfect. It is about being better than you were yesterday. It is about a constant, loving return to the person you know you can be. You are the architect of your own character, and you have all the time you need to build something beautiful. My discipline is my freedom. My discipline is my freedom. Type in the comments, my discipline is my freedom. The final anchor in our practice of the quiet anchor method is the establishment of a sacred morning and evening rhythm. This principle is based on the Stoic belief that a well-lived life is not a collection of random events, but a series of intentional choices. The Stoics often compared the mind to a student and the world to a classroom. If you enter the classroom without a plan, you will be distracted by every noise and every minor interruption. However, if you prepare your mind before the day begins, you become far more resilient to whatever challenges arise. This rhythm consists of 2 parts. First, the morning preparation, where you rehearse your virtues and anticipate difficulties. Second, the evening review, where you act as a gentle but honest auditor of your own character. By creating these bookends for your day, you ensure that your inner citadel remains strong and that your peace of mind is never left to chance. This is the practice of self-mastery through daily ritual in our modern life. However, this rhythm is incredibly difficult to maintain. Most of us have been conditioned to start our days in a state of high reactivity. The very first thing many people do upon waking is reach for a smartphone or turn on the morning news. Within seconds of opening our eyes, we are flooded with the problems of the world, the demands of our emails, and the filtered lives of others on social media. This creates a state of immediate mental clutter. We begin our day already behind, feeling a sense of urgency and anxiety that has nothing to do with our actual surroundings. In the evening, the pattern continues. We often use the television or the internet to numb ourselves after a long day. We fall asleep while the mind is still spinning with blue light and information. For those of us in our mature years, this lack of a quiet beginning and end to the day can lead to a profound sense of exhaustion and a feeling that we are no longer in control of our own time. We lose the sacred silence that is necessary for the soul to rest and recover. Let us look at a fictional illustration of how the absence of this rhythm can drain a person's spirit. Imagine a woman named Martha. Martha is 68 years old and lives a relatively quiet life. But she often feels on edge. When her alarm goes off, she immediately turns on the news to keep her company while she makes her coffee. By 8 in the morning, she has heard about 3 different global crises and a local tragedy. Her mind is now filled with a sense of dread. When her daughter calls later that morning to ask a simple favor, Martha is short-tempered and impatient. She is reacting to the world's stress, not her daughter's request. In the evening, Martha stays up late watching a drama on television until she eventually dozes off in her chair. She never takes a moment to reflect on her day or to prepare for the next. As a result, Martha's days feel like a blur of low-level anxiety. She feels like she is merely surviving her life rather than truly living it. She has the wisdom of nearly 7 decades, but she has no quiet space in which to use that wisdom. When we analyze Martha's situation through a Stoic lens, we see that she is missing the vital buffer that protects the soul. The Stoics knew that we must intentionally set our internal temperature before the external world tries to set it for us. Marcus Aurelius, despite being the emperor of Rome and having a schedule filled with wars and political crises, began every single morning with a specific mental preparation. He did not wake up and immediately read the reports from the front lines. Instead, he wrote to himself in his journal. He practiced what we might call a morning rehearsal of character. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "When you wake up in the morning, tell yourself, the people I deal with today will be meddling, ungrateful, arrogant, dishonest, jealous, and surly. They are like this because they cannot tell good from evil. But I, at least, have seen the nature of the good and know that it is beautiful." This was not a cynical way of thinking. It was a profoundly compassionate one. By expecting people to be difficult, he was not being a pessimist. He was removing the power of their behavior to shock or anger him. He was deciding in advance that his nature as a kind and rational being would not be changed by the ignorance of others. If someone was rude to him in the afternoon, he had already rehearsed his response in the morning. He had already set his anchor. This morning preparation is the first half of the Stoic rhythm. It is the act of deciding who you will be before the world tells you who you should be. The second half of this rhythm is the evening review. This is the practice of looking back at the day with honesty and grace. Seneca, who was a high-level advisor in the Roman court, believed that this was the key to a clear conscience and a restful sleep. Seneca understood that we all make mistakes, and that the goal of the evening review is not to punish ourselves, but to learn. He would wait until the house was silent and his wife had fallen asleep before he began his audit. Seneca wrote, "When the light has been removed and my wife has fallen silent, I examine my entire day and go over what I have done and said, hiding nothing from myself, passing over nothing. Why should I fear any of my errors? When I can say, see that you do not do this any more. But for now, I forgive you. Think about the beauty and the dignity in that phrase, for now I forgive you. This is the part of the Stoic rhythm that many people miss. It is about holding yourself to a high standard, but also showing yourself the same kindness you would show a dear friend. By reviewing the day, you stop your mistakes from becoming habits. You catch the weeds in your garden before they grow too deep. This evening ritual allows you to close the book on the day. It prevents the stress of today from leaking into tomorrow. It gives you a sense of completion and peace. You can apply this rhythm in your life right now, especially during times of significant transition or personal challenge. If you are caring for an ill family member, for example, your morning preparation might include the realization that the day will be physically and emotionally demanding. You can decide in the morning that your character will be defined by patience and small acts of service, regardless of how tired you feel. In the evening, you can look back and acknowledge the moments you were strong, and forgive yourself for the moments you felt frustrated. This rhythm prevents caregiver burnout by giving you a sense of agency over your internal world. You can also apply this when you are dealing with loneliness or a sense of lost purpose. By setting a morning intention to find one small beauty in the day and reviewing that beauty in the evening, you retrain your brain to look for the light rather than the shadows. To help you build this inner citadel, here is a specific step-by-step morning and evening practice. It will take you less than 15 minutes a day, but the impact on your peace of mind will be profound. Step number 1. The morning preparation. This should take about 5 minutes. Do this before you turn on any electronics. While you are still sitting on the edge of your bed or having your first glass of water, say these words to yourself. Today, why? I will meet people who may be difficult, ungrateful, or unkind. They act this way because they are confused about what is truly good. But I know that my character is my choice. I will not let their nature change my nature. I will be a steady anchor for myself and for those around me. Take one deep breath and feel the truth of those words. You have now set your intention. You are no longer drifting. Step number 2. Throughout the day, whenever you feel your peace being threatened, return to your morning intention. Remind yourself, I have already prepared for this. This is the wind blowing, but I am the anchor. Step number 3. The evening review. This should take about 10 minutes. Do this when the house is quiet and you are preparing to sleep. Turn off the lights and sit comfortably. Go through your day in your mind. From the moment you woke up until now, ask yourself these 3 questions. Question 1. What did I do well today? Celebrate the moments you were patient, the moments you were kind, and the moments you stayed calm. Question 2. Where was I unkind or reactive? Be honest. Did you snap at someone? Did you spend too much time worrying about things you cannot control? Question 3. What will I do better tomorrow? Choose one small thing you want to improve. Perhaps you want to be more patient with your spouse. Or perhaps you want to spend less time watching the news. Step number 4. The final release. After you have reviewed your day, say to yourself, I have done what I could today. I have learned what I could. I forgive myself for my errors, and I set them down. I am at peace. By practicing this daily rhythm, you are taking back the authorship of your life. You are no longer a victim of the morning news or the evening television. You are a person who lives with dignity and purpose. You are training your mind to be its own best companion. This consistency is what transforms philosophy from a set of interesting ideas into a powerful, living shield. It provides a sense of structure and meaning that can be especially comforting as we navigate the changes that come with age. You are realizing that every day is a new opportunity to be the person you want to be. You are not defined by your past or by your fears. You are defined by the choices you make in the present. As you begin this practice, remember to be gentle with yourself. There will be mornings when you forget to set your intention, and evenings when you are too tired for a full review. That is perfectly fine. The goal is not a perfect streak of days. The goal is a heart that always returns to its center. Whenever you find yourself drifting, simply come back to the rhythm. The quiet anchor is always there, waiting for you to set it down. You have the strength of the ancient Stoics within you. You have the wisdom of your own long life. And you have the power, in this very moment, to decide that your peace of mind is worth the effort. Take a deep breath and feel the quiet strength that comes from this daily commitment. You are building a life of honor, resilience, and deep, lasting peace. You are the architect of your soul, and you are doing a beautiful job. I am the architect of my day. I am the architect of my day. Type in the comments, I am the architect of my day. As we draw our time together to a close, let us return for a moment to the image of the old oak tree standing in the center of a sudden summer storm. We began this journey by asking how that tree remains so still while the wind howls and the branches of younger trees snap around it. Now, after exploring the quiet anchor method, we know the secret. The tree does not fight the wind. It does not try to change the path of the storm. Instead, it pours all its energy into its roots. It stays connected to the earth. It remains exactly what it is. Throughout this session, we have met people who represent the different storms we all face. We met Mary, who learned that her peace was on loan to her grandson's choices until she reclaimed it through the anchor of perspective. We met Robert, who realized that his regrets were merely the wake behind his ship, and that he could only sail his life in the present moment. They met Thomas, who found his dignity in the 10-second gap between a hurtful word and his own loving response. And we met Martha and George, who showed us that the difference between a life of anxiety and a life of peace is often found in a simple morning and evening rhythm. These individuals are not just characters in a story, they are reflections of you and me. They represent the quiet courage it takes to live with wisdom in a world that is often loud and confusing. The core lesson we have gathered today can be summarized in one hopeful sentence. You are not a dry leaf being blown by the winds of circumstance. You are the steady anchor in your own storm. This is the promise of the Stoic path. It does not promise that the storms will stop. It does not promise that people will always be kind, or that your health will never change, or that you will never feel a moment of loneliness. Instead, it provides you with a fortress that exists entirely inside your own soul. It reminds you that your character is the only thing that truly belongs to you, and it is the one thing that no person and no event can ever take away without your permission. You have spent a lifetime building your home, your career, and your family. You have worked hard to provide for others and to be a pillar of strength for those you love. Now, in this season of your life, it is time to build your inner citadel. You deserve the peace that comes with it. You deserve to wake up in the morning feeling grounded and to go to sleep in the evening feeling a sense of quiet accomplishment. This is not a selfish act. In fact, by becoming a more peaceful and steady person, you become a greater blessing to everyone around you. When you are the anchor, you provide a safe harbor for your children, your friends, and your community. Your stillness becomes a gift to a world that is desperately seeking it. To help you keep these anchors set deep, let us quickly review the plan we have built together today. Step number 1. Remember the circle of control. Every morning, identify what is yours to manage and what belongs to the universe. Focus your energy only on your own thoughts and actions. Step number 2. Embrace the present. Use the gratitude breath whenever you feel the past trying to steal your joy. Remember that the only place you can be a good person is right now, in this very second. Step number 3. Protect your character. Use the 1-0-second buffer before you respond to conflict. Choose to be the person you want to be remembered as, regardless of how others treat you. Step number 4. Maintain the rhythm. Start your day with a morning intention and end your day with an evening review. Let these bookends protect your peace from the noise of the modern world. As a final act of practice today, I invite you to make a small, honest commitment to yourself and to this community. We are all travelers on this path, and we draw strength from knowing we are not alone. In the comments below, please share one small action you will take tomorrow to set your anchor. Perhaps you will commit to not checking the news for the first hour of the day. Perhaps you will commit to taking 10 seconds of silence before responding to a difficult relative. Or perhaps you will simply commit to practicing the gratitude breath when you feel a sense of overthinking. Whatever it is, write it down. This act of typing your commitment is a way of making it real in your mind. If this reflection has brought a sense of calm to your day, we invite you to join our community by subscribing and sharing this wisdom with someone who might be struggling to find their own anchor. We are building a space where wisdom is shared with respect and warmth, and we would be honored to have you as a part of it. Before we say goodbye, it is important to remember that these ideas are shared for your personal reflection and growth. They are a way to support your mental and spiritual well-being, but they are not a substitute for professional mental health support or medical advice. Stoicism is a beautiful philosophy that can walk alongside any faith or belief system, providing practical tools for a dignified life. However, if you are going through a heavy season of life or feeling overwhelmed, please reach out to a qualified professional or someone you trust. Seeking help is a sign of wisdom and character, and you do not have to carry every burden alone. As you move back into your day or prepare for your evening rest, carry this stillness with you. Remember the old oak tree. Remember the anchors of perspective, the present, and character. You have lived many years and gathered much wisdom, and that wisdom is your greatest asset. You are a person of value, dignity, and strength. The world may be loud, and the storms may blow, but you are no longer adrift. You have found your center. You have built your citadel. Thank you for spending this time with us. It is a privilege to walk this path with you. We will be here for you in the next session, continuing to build our inner strength together. Until then, take a deep breath, feel the ground beneath you, and remember who you are. I am the anchor in my own storm. I am the anchor in my own storm. Type in the comments, I am the anchor in my own storm.